Welcome to the Fighter Index, MMA's unofficial fighter scoring system. In this video, we're breaking down a heavyweight matchup built almost entirely around danger. Sergei Pavlovich versus Tallison Teixeira. When two heavyweights like this meet, every second matters because one clean exchange can end everything. Pavlovich brings proven elite level knockout power, fast hands for a heavyweight, and the kind of pressure that makes opponents panic early. Teixeira brings size, reach, and the unpredictability of a dangerous rising heavyweight who can create problems before opponents ever get comfortable. This is a matchup between proven violence and dangerous upside. Pavlovich wants fast pressure, clean boxing exchanges where his speed and power can take over. Teixeira wants range, disruption, and the chance to force Pavlovich into uncomfortable moments he hasn't fully solved yet. We're going to break down their fighter archetypes, their best weapons, both of their strengths and weaknesses, score all four pillars of the fighter index. We're going to map out the fight dynamics, see their paths to victory, and see which heavyweight holds the edge when the numbers come together for their fighter index scores. Sergei Pavlovich is an A-tier elite knockout striker who is built around overwhelming boxing pressure and rare heavyweight finishing ability. He wins by forcing fast exchanges, taking the center of the cage early, and landing clean before opponents can settle. His speed for the division, compact combinations, and pure stopping power make him one of the most dangerous early round heavyweights in the sport. He's A-tier because his archetype works against elite fighters consistently, but questions about his defensive layers and adaptability keep him just below the very top S-tier level. Tallison Teixeira is a B-tier ranged pressure finisher that is built around size, reach, and using physical advantages to create uncomfortable striking exchanges. He wants opponents reacting to him, dealing with long-range offense, awkward timing, and the threat of sudden finishes when they make mistakes. His upside is high because heavyweight rewards that kind of danger, but with less proven success against elite competition and fewer tested layers in deep fights. He fits best in B-tier archetype for now. Sergei Pavlovich's best weapon is his straight-line boxing pressure. He takes center immediately, forces opponents backward, and throws fast, compact combinations that feel far quicker than most heavyweights can handle. He doesn't give opponents time to settle. He makes every exchange feel urgent. His second major weapon is a fight-changing knockout power. At heavyweight, clean shots always matter, but Pavlovich carries the kind of stopping power where even short punches can completely shut the lights off. He doesn't need perfect setups, just one clean opening. His third weapon is an early round momentum. He's at its most dangerous when fights are still chaotic and opponents are trying to adjust to him. If he gets rhythm early, he can overwhelm opponents before the fight ever becomes tactical. Teixeira's best weapon is his size and range management. His length creates problems before the fight even starts, forcing opponents to deal with distance, awkward entries, and shots coming from angles that are harder to read. His second major weapon is his finishing instinct. When opponents hesitate or make mistakes, he commits hard and looks to end the fight quickly rather than just score points. That makes him dangerous even in small moments. His third weapon is unpredictability. Because he's still a rising heavyweight with less tape and less established patterns, opponents can struggle to get comfortable early. That uncertainty adds another layer of danger in a division where one mistake can end everything. Sergei Pavlovich's biggest strength is how quickly he can take control of a fight. His game is built around fast, aggressive boxing pressure that forces heavyweights into uncomfortable exchanges before they have time to get settled in. He closes distance behind straight punches, keeps opponents backing up, and creates the kind of pace that turns calm game plans into straight survival mode. What makes Pavlovich especially dangerous is that his power doesn't require perfect setups. He throws compact, direct combinations with real stopping power, and because his hands are unusually fast for a heavyweight, opponents often get hit before they realize the exchange has started. That makes him one of the most dangerous early round finishers in the division. His confidence also plays a major role. Pavlovich fights like someone who expects the finish, and that pressure can mentally break opponents before the physical damage does. When he controls the center and gets opponents reacting instead of thinking, he becomes incredibly difficult to stop. Pavlovich's aggressive style creates huge danger, but it also creates defensive risks. Because he pushes forward so heavily and trusts his offense to solve problems, he can leave openings for clean counters, especially against disciplined fighters who don't panic under pressure. When opponents survive the first wave and force him to reset, the fight can become far less comfortable for him. His game is also built heavily around early momentum. He's most dangerous when he controls the center and dictates the pace immediately, but longer, slower fights can raise questions about adaptability and layered decision making. If opponents can disrupt that rhythm with clinch work, movement, or grappling pressure, his effectiveness can drop. There are also fewer proven answers when fights leave his preferred range. He's elite in fast boxing exchanges, but if the matchup becomes more tactical, more defensive, or more grappling heavy, he has less room to dominate the way he does in open striking battles. Tallison Teixeira's biggest strength is the physical problem he creates before the fight even begins. His size, length, and reach force opponents to work much harder just to enter striking range, and at heavyweight that kind of natural advantage can completely change how exchanges play out. He makes opponents uncomfortable simply by controlling distance. What makes Teixeira especially dangerous is how well he uses that range with finishing intent. He doesn't just stay long and score points, he uses it to create hesitation, force bad entries, and punish mistakes with real stopping power. When opponents rush forward recklessly, he has the reach and timing to make them pay immediately. His unpredictability is another major strength. As a rising heavyweight with less tape and fewer established patterns, he can be difficult to read early. That uncertainty, combined with his aggression when he sees openings, makes him a dangerous fighter in the division where one mistake can end everything. Teixeira's biggest weakness is that much of his success depends on controlling distance and keeping opponents at the end of his range. Against aggressive pressure fighters who are willing to walk through danger and force close exchanges, that comfort can disappear quickly. If opponents can get inside consistently, his biggest physical advantage becomes harder to use. He's also less proven in deep, high-level heavyweight fights. Against experienced finishers, especially someone like Pavlovich, unanswered questions about composure, durability, and decision-making become much more important. Heavyweight punishes inexperience fast, and there is less room for mistakes. Because he relies heavily on range and reaction-based offense, fast pressure can force him into defensive exchanges rather than letting him dictate the pace. If he starts backing up too much or gets drawn into short boxing exchanges, the fight can swing quickly against him. Now it's time to break these fighters down using the Fighter Index scale. We break down each phase of the fight and score each skill to better understand the strengths and the weaknesses of a fighter's game. All Fighter Index scores are based on a scale of 1 to 10. Scores are subjective and can change as a fighter evolves from fight to fight. Here's how the Fighter Index works. Each fighter is evaluated across 4 pillars made up of 4 key skills. Every skill is scored on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 represents a non-functional ability and 10 represents a rare or generational skill. Everything in between reflects a fighter's level in that area. At the end of the video, those scores are combined to calculate the Fighter Index score to see who is the more complete fighter. Pillar 1, Fight IQ and Athletic Tools. Both heavyweights bring real danger, but the difference comes down to proven experience versus rising upside. Starting with Fight IQ, Sergei Pavlovich holds the edge, scoring a 7 compared to Tallison Teixeira's 6. Pavlovich has a clearer understanding of how to force his fight. He takes the center early, pressures fast, and knows how to create the kind of exchanges where his power matters most. Teixeira shows patience and composure for a younger heavyweight, but he's still early in his UFC development and less proven in high-level adjustments. In athleticism, both fighters are even at 8. Pavlovich brings rare speed and explosiveness for a heavyweight, especially in short boxing exchanges, while Teixeira matches that with a massive frame, surprising movement, and strong finishing explosiveness for someone his size. Stamina is also even at 6. Pavlovich is extremely dangerous early, but his output can drop in longer fights, while Teixeira's deep cardio remains largely untested because most of his fights end quickly, and we saw him gas fairly quickly against Tai Tuivasa. Resolve gives Pavlovich another edge, 8 to Tallison's 7. He has proven toughness against elite competition and has shown the ability to stay dangerous under real pressure, while Teixeira has looked confident so far, but he hasn't faced the same level of adversity yet. Because both men are equally explosive physically, but Pavlovich has a strong fight management and more proven resolve at the top level, Pillar 1 favors Sergei Pavlovich. Pillar 2, Striking and Stand-Up Defense. This is where the matchup feels most dangerous because both heavyweights carry real finishing power. Starting with striking, Sergei Pavlovich holds the edge, scoring a 9 compared to Tallison Teixeira's 8. Pavlovich brings elite heavyweight finishing power with some of the best pure boxing offense in the division. His fast, compact combinations and ability to overwhelm opponents early make him one of the most dangerous strikers at heavyweight. Teixeira is still a serious offensive threat with real power and aggressive finishing instincts, but Pavlovich's proven level gives him the stronger score. In the clinch, Teixeira gets a slight advantage, 7 to Pavlovich's 6. His size, leverage, and ability to use his physicality in close-range exchanges make him more naturally dangerous when the fight gets tight, while Pavlovich is more comfortable keeping things in open boxing range. Striking defense is even at 5, and that tells an important story. Both fighters can be hit clean. Pavlovich relies more on offense than layered defense, while Teixeira is more hittable and not fully tested against top UFC strikers. In chin, they're also even at 7. Pavlovich is durable, but recent knockout losses prevent elite scoring, while Teixeira has looked good so far, though he still hasn't been tested against true top-level heavyweight power. Because Pavlovich holds a stronger striking offense and his more proven finishing ability, even with Teixeira's clinch edge, Pillar 2 favors Sergei Pavlovich. Pillar 3, Grappling and Control. Neither fighter is built around a wrestling-first offense, but the small differences here matter because heavyweight fights can change fast once someone is forced to grapple. Starting with wrestling, Tallison Teixeira gets the edge, scoring a 6 compared to Sergei Pavlovich's 5. Pavlovich is functional enough to defend himself and survive grappling phases, but it's not a major offensive weapon in his game. Teixeira shows a bit more overall grappling ability and looks more comfortable adding it in when needed, even if it isn't his primary identity. That carries into takedown offense, where Teixeira again leads 5 to Pavlovich's 4. Pavlovich rarely uses takedowns as a real path to victory, while Teixeira can use them situationally and change pace or force opponents to think twice about overcommitting on the feet. In top control, Teixeira holds another slight edge, 5 to Pavlovich's 4. Neither fighter is known for sustained UFC level control grappling, but Teixeira has shown a little more upside if he does end up on top. The same applies to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where Teixeira scores a 6 compared to Pavlovich's 5. Pavlovich is competent enough to survive and defend himself, but he is not a major submission threat. Teixeira is also not a specialist, but he brings a slightly more stronger ability to threaten and stay safe if the fight turns technical on the mat. Because Teixeira holds advantage across every grappling category, even if the gaps are small, Pillar 3 favors Tallison Teixeira. Pillar 4, Defense Scrambles and Ground Survival. This is a very close pillar, but it helps to show which fighter is better equipped if the fight gets dragged away from clean striking exchanges. Starting with takedown defense, both Sergei Pavlovich and Tallison Teixeira are even at 6. Pavlovich is solid enough to stay upright against most opposition, while Teixeira is serviceable as well, though he still needs stronger testing against high-level wrestlers. In BJJ defense, they stay even again at 6. Neither fighter is known for elite defensive grappling, but both are generally safe enough to survive and avoid obvious mistakes if the fight hits the mat. The first real separation comes in off the back. Teixeira scores a 5 compared to Pavlovich's 4. Neither man is especially dangerous from the bottom position, but Teixeira offers a little more ability to work his way out of bad spots and create something if he ends up underneath. In scrambles, Teixeira gets another slight edge, 6 to Pavlovich's 5. His athleticism and movement for his size make him a bit stronger in transitions, while Pavlovich is more comfortable keeping fights in straightforward striking exchanges rather than chaotic grappling transitions. Because the defensive layers are mostly even, but Teixeira has more upside off his back and in scrambles, Pillar 4 slightly favors Tallison Teixeira. Now, when you take everything from the 4 pillars and put it together, this is where the fight really starts to come into focus. This matchup is all about who gets to force their preferred range first, because both men are dangerous, but they create danger in very different ways. Pillar 1. Pavlovich gets the edge because he leads in fight IQ, 7-6, and resolve, 8-7, while athleticism is even at 8 and stamina is even at 6. That gives Sergei the advantage in proven fight management and toughness under pressure, especially against elite heavyweight opposition. Pillar 2 also favors Pavlovich. He leads in striking 9-8, while Teixeira holds a slight edge in clinch edge 7-6. Striking defense is even at 5, and chin is even at 7, but Pavlovich's proven elite-level boxing offense gives him the most dangerous weapon in the matchup. Pillar 3 shifts towards Teixeira. He leads in every category. None of the gaps are huge, but across every grappling layer he has slightly more upside if the fight hits the mat. Pillar 4 also leans towards Teixeira. Takedown defense and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense are both even at 6, but his 5-4 edge off the back and 6-5 advantage in scrambles make him a little more dangerous in bad positions and transitions. So this fight likely comes down to early control. If Pavlovich can pressure forward, close the distance, and force short boxing exchanges, his speed and knockout power can end the fight fast. But if Teixeira can manage range, survive the first wave, and drag the fight into longer exchanges or grappling transitions, his size and versatility start to make the matchup much more complicated. Now we look at each fighter's path to victory based on what we learn from the 4 pillars. Sergei Pavlovich's path to victory is built around taking away Tallison Teixeira's range immediately and forcing the fight into fast, short boxing exchanges before Teixeira can settle into his length and timing. The biggest comparison is Pavlovich's 9 in striking against Teixeira's 5 in striking defense. That gap is massive, and it means Sergei does not need the volume, he just needs clean entries. If he gets inside early and forces Teixeira to exchange in the pocket, his speed and compact power can end the fight fast. He also needs to avoid giving Teixeira time to make the fight layered. Teixeira holds small advantages in wrestling, top control, and scrambles, so Pavlovich's best path is to keep the fight striking where those layers never become a factor. He doesn't want long clinch stalls or drawn-out grappling exchanges where Teixeira's size and versatility can slow the pace. Just as important, Pavlovich is 7 in fight IQ and 8 in resolve compared to Teixeira's 6 and 7, meaning that he has the experience edge in managing dangerous moments. If he stays disciplined, he stays out of kickboxing range and in boxing range, and doesn't chase finishing, the cleaner opportunities should belong to him. For Pavlovich, this fight is about pressure, range denial, and forcing Teixeira to box under fire. Get inside early, stay on him, and never let the fight become comfortable. Tallison Teixeira's path to victory is built around controlling distance, forcing Sergei to fight at the end of his range, and making every entry feel dangerous before Sergei can settle into his pressure boxing. The biggest comparison is Teixeira's 8 in striking against Pavlovich's 5 in striking defense. Pavlovich is dangerous offensively, but he can be hit clean when he pushes forward, and Teixeira's size, reach, and timing give him real opportunities to punish those entries. He also needs to use his grappling edge if the fight gets messy. Teixeira has better wrestling, takedown offense, top control, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which means if he can disrupt Pavlovich's rhythm with clinch work, level changes, or forced scrambles, he has more ways to slow the fight down and take Sergei out of his preferred striking flow. His 7 in the clinch compared to Pavlovich's 6 also matters. If Pavlovich rushes forward recklessly, Teixeira can use his size, frame, and close-range physicality to break rhythm and make Sergei work instead of letting him freely pressure. For Teixeira, this fight is about discipline, range control, and surviving the first storm. Keep Pavlovich reaching, punish entries, and make the fight more layered than he wants. When the numbers are finalized, Sergei Pavlovich comes in with a 6.6 fighter index score compared to Tallison Teixeira at 5.8. That gap is driven mainly by Pavlovich's advantages in proven striking offense, fight management, and his ability to impose pressure early against high-level heavyweight competition. Teixeira's size, range, and stronger grappling upside keep the matchup dangerous, especially if he can survive the early storm and force longer exchanges. But across more total phases of fighting, Pavlovich's elite boxing pressure and proven finishing ability give him the stronger overall profile. And that's the breakdown for Sergei Pavlovich versus Tallison Teixeira using the fighter index. This matchup really comes down to who controls the first exchange. If Pavlovich gets inside early and forces fast boxing exchanges, his pressure and knockout power can end the fight quickly. But if Teixeira can manage range, survive the first wave, and turn the fight into a longer, more layered battle, his size and versatility make the fight much more complicated. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins this fight? And are there any skills that you would score differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's break it down. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more fighter breakdowns. See you on the next one.